And we're back. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so basically what happened was something came up quickly with William. He had to go take care of something with his family. Everything's all right. He's just, you know how children are. So long story short is basically what me and William were talking about earlier was the fact that, the police are overstepping their boundaries. They're being indoctrinated with a bunch of silly stuff. The news in itself is being told what to put out so that they can sway the opinions of the masses and cause mass panic. And as you can see here, rape and robbery and murder and looting and everything else here that's happening in Ferguson. Although I wouldn't say so much rape. But either way, long story short is, folks, is that you need to stop listening to the mainstream media for every little thing and form your own opinions, because the simple fact is that they're proving more and more that all they have to do is get some kind of racially charged propaganda war going on in the news, and they can start a race war. And then they can use that as an excuse to say, hey, listen, this is why you guys aren't allowed to own firearms. This is why we need to turn this into a nanny state. And this is why we need to make everybody in the United States a slave and not be allowed to carry firearms, and so on and so forth. Don't get me wrong, folks. I'm pro-gun. I'm also pro-gun control. I believe that there are, especially in other states, here in New York, it's fairly hard to get a firearm. But the point is that gun control laws don't work. But I do believe that maybe we should teach people how to control their guns. One thing I agree with is, gun control is holding the gun with both hands. And you can laugh at that line all you want, but the point is that when it comes down to it, I would rather them pass laws where you have to get firearms training before you're allowed to own a gun. Or when you buy that gun, they send that firearm to a training facility, and you have to go through a 2-week course where they hold onto the gun, you train with it, and then when they deem that you're capable of handling a firearm safely, they hand it over to you. They sign it over to you, and then you're good to go. If not, then you're crap out of luck. But in reality, maybe that's not a little harsh, because then that would give I wouldn't say that it should be regulated by the government, because then that would give them warrant to say anybody's not allowed to own a firearm, because they can just come up with these stupid cockamamie, super stringent guidelines that nobody would be able to match, not even the Pope. So the point is that I agree, but my point is that unless you can come up with something better, let me know. Go to Rage Against the Regime Facebook.com/Rage Against the Regime, and go to the page, message, whether it's privately message it or post it in the timeline. Let me know what you guys think. I'm always willing to hear somebody out, whether you agree with me or not. I say that Einstein, or I like to refer to an Einstein quote that states that the sign of a true intellectual is the capability to accept or to entertain an idea without accepting it, meaning that you can listen to somebody, hear out what they have to say without letting it get into your mind and changing your opinion. But you should still be able to hear somebody out and understand where they're coming from. And in a nutshell, it's, you don't know a man until you walk a mile in his shoes. So lace up those boots and start walking, pal. And that's basically what I'm trying to explain here, is that I speak from experience when I know how people are reacting in the streets to all this kind of stuff, because I used to hang out in urban neighborhoods. I have a lot of friends who are African Americans. I understand that not all African Americans feel the same way as these ones rioting in Ferguson. But my point is that the media led all these people astray, instead of allowing there's a lot of people who still think and who still trust what the news sources say. They're always saying, trusted news sources, best news since 1989 or whatever the hell their stupid line is. And they tell people, we can be trusted, we're reliable, we come out with the best, fastest news possible. And in reality, when it comes to this instantaneous breaking news reporting scenarios that we're in with CNN and all the other things, there's no possible way you can get accurate information that quickly. So there's going to be plenty of times, if not almost all the time, where you get your information wrong. Meanwhile, when it comes to inflammatory situations like what's going on in Ferguson, and all of a sudden things like Ferguson happen, all of a sudden these people start reporting stupid crap and making everybody else get all riled up and everything else. So I don't understand why they. Well, I kind of do understand why they don't hold the news sources responsible. It's because the government is the one who's behind the news nowadays, telling people that you're not allowed to, or telling the news sources and the anchors what they are and aren't allowed to put on the news and what they are and aren't allowed to say. So when it comes down to it, it's just a whole cockamamie mess, and there's so many people arguing what needs to be done, when in reality we need somebody to roll up their sleeves and get it done. People need to stop being slacktivists and clicking like buttons on Facebook, because it doesn't matter how many likes a post on Facebook gets, it's not going to change anything. It's like what I said, I call it slacktivism. People just want to be able to say, oh, I did something, and feel good about themselves by clicking a button on Facebook, and when in reality, it's not getting anything done. They're not going out and rallying and telling their politicians how they feel. I am. When the SAFE Act was first announced, I went to Albany with a whole bunch of other pro-gunners and the Oath Keepers, and we all rallied in front of the and I'm not even sure what building it was exactly, but we all went to Albany, right where Cuomo's office was, and stood in front of that government building and flipped him off when he looked at us in the window and told him, hey, we're not going to stand for this, and it's still here. And I think that's what the problem is that a lot of people feel that either protesting leads to what happens in Ferguson, or it doesn't get you anywhere, so what's the point? You're either endangering your life or wasting your time. When in reality, folks, if we give up that simple right, then they're going to start trampling over more. So keep rallying, keep going out there and telling them that you're not going to stand there and take it with a peaceful voice, because eventually nonviolence will stand. As I've said before, the pen is mightier than the sword as long as it's wielded by the proper holder. And that's the whole thing here, is that a lot of people, like, there's all these gun nuts, and I will call them gun nuts. There's all these wannabe patriots who are ready to run to grab their rifle every time something bad happens, or they want to just brandish it like they're some kind of tough guy. You're all a bunch of internet keyboard warriors who aren't willing to get your hands dirty and do the work that's necessary to save this country without having to hurt people. You just want an excuse to hurt people. And I'm going to tell you that right now. You can come and attack me all you want on Facebook. You're a bunch of pansies if you think for 5 seconds that what needs to happen in this country is a violent uprising. Right now, I'm telling you right now, if you think for 1 second that overthrowing the government or rebelling against our country is going to help by starting a war and hurting innocent people and making sons and daughters have to take up arms against their own brethren in their own country, if you think that's going to get things done around here, then you're freaking crazy. And it makes me sick and tired of I don't even like going on the internet anymore, because there's just all these, oh, well, I'm going to grab my AK-47 and I'm going to go down to the Senate and I'm going to go do this and I'm going to go do that. Yeah, well, stop typing and start doing, and leave the AK-47 out of it, because guess what? All you're trying to do is intimidate people because you have a tiny pecker and you're using that as an extension of your manhood. And I'm not afraid to say it. So guess what? You can all sit there in front of your computers and talk all the crap you want. I'm not even going to read it. I'm definitely not going to. All right, and I've noticed that there's a lot of people starting to download the show, so thank you guys for listening, and let me know who you are. Let me know that you're out there listening. Let me know on the Rage Against the Regime podcast what you want to hear, maybe there's somebody that you want me to bring on the show, or Bobby or Becky or anybody. Let us all know, because we're all working together to try to bring you guys the best show possible. And I'm sorry for the past 48 hours, the past 2 shows. I've been a little stammery, and when I lose my momentum, I start losing my train of thought. I apologize about that. I have a family, and I can't really tell them to shut up or do anything. I have animals that don't understand what's going on, that they need to be quiet. So if there's a little bit of background noise, I apologize. I try to give the best sound quality for the best show possible, because I know there's a lot of people out there like me who are sticklers about sound. My point is that I'm trying to make the show better and as good as possible. But the point is that I don't make a lot of money, so it's going to take a little while. I spend a lot of my money on gear and other things that I need to survive in this world. I wish I got paid to do this. It would be awesome. But long story short is that you need to stop believing all the propaganda and all the rhetoric that's being spread around on in the mainstream media. All right. The simple fact of the matter is that whether you're pro Michael Brown or pro Officer Darren Wilson, the point is that from what I've seen, the evidence proves the contrary, that Michael Brown was just minding his own business and was shot or gunned down innocently. Now, whether or not like we talked about before, whether or not the police officer was liable or allowed to use deadly force, I don't agree with that. I believe that if he had a less lethal means of subduing the subject, which would have been a taser or pepper spray, none of us would have ever even heard about this case. And maybe Michael Brown's family would have been a little richer for a police brutality lawsuit, something along those lines. And that's my point here, is that, you know, if anything, at least a positive would have been that a family that doesn't make a lot of money would have probably with a little heartache and a little pain, would have gotten some money that they could live off of for a while. But now, instead, there's people losing their homes, and people, getting hurt, and people losing their lives and businesses because of the fact that our government and our local governments and our local law enforcement doesn't want to spend the extra money on other means. Now, some people may argue, hey, if you have a taser, you're more liable to use it. And guess what? I have pepper spray. I carry pepper spray with me in bad neighborhoods. I had a gentleman that I thought that I was going to have to use the pepper spray on because he was quite larger than me, and he was getting very, very aggressive with me. It wasn't just simply a passing thing. I told the story recently on the show. I was walking past a gentleman who was well dressed, I might add, in front of a Chinese food store, and he was asking me for money. Now, at the time, like I said, I don't make a lot of money. I hadn't gotten paid at the end of the day yet, and I only had enough money to get myself dinner. I wasn't even lying or being greedy. And the guy was asking me for $1, and I said, no, brother, all I got is enough money for myself to get food. And the guy starts yelling, yo, man, get the fuck over here. Excuse the language, but that's what he said. And he's screaming at me, using more and more profanity. He started calling me white boy and everything else. And I was like, I do not want this problem today. So I just walked into the Chinese food store as fast as I possibly could, because I didn't want to start a problem. Did I turn around and mace the guy? No. I could have. The guy tried getting in my face, and I just turned around and walked away. I could have easily. I felt threatened. I could have easily reached for my pepper spray and sprayed him in the eyes, and then called the police. But I didn't. You know why? Because I have restraint. I'm a martial artist, and I know that if need be, I could defend myself. But the problem is that against a gentleman that size, you never know. And on top of which, you don't know if a person, how well dressed or not they are, you never know if that person's mentally unstable. They could be schizophrenic. My point is that I held restraint when I was damn close to being able I was damn close to being assaulted, and I at least had the right to pull out my pepper spray and brandish it to show him that I was armed. What did I do? I left. Why? Because my training told me, you leave and you try to get away as fast as possible, and you do not fight, and you do not use any form of self-defense until it's the last and final possible means of defending yourself. I should say, physical self-defense, until you have no other choice, until you're cornered and you have no way out of it besides defending yourself. Then you're within your rights. I was told by a New York City police officer that if you're going to use lethal force, then you need to make sure that the jury and the judge see that you held as much restraint as possible until you finally decided to pull the trigger. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, I'll put it to you this way. You need to have your lawyer and the judge and the jury like, wait a minute, he did this, and he did that, and he did that, and he did that, and you still didn't shoot him? I would have shot him by then. Wait a minute, whoa. And then you're telling me he did this, and then he did this. And then that's when you use lethal force. I would have shot him 2 steps ago. That is what's going to put you within your right to use lethal force. At least, and especially on a moral standpoint. You want everybody, you need to, it's a sad state of affairs that you can't just protect yourself in this country. But the fact is that you need to be able to, in the court of law, you need to be able to make everybody, you need to make the defense, or I should say whoever's defending the person that you assaulted with a firearm, even be like, dude, you deserved it. And that's the whole thing here. But when it comes down to it, the race card is being pulled by the lamestream media and getting people riled up who aren't smart enough to form their own opinion, and they're just letting the news tell them what they want, or I should say what they want to hear. But at the same time, most of the people who were causing problems in Ferguson weren't even local Ferguson residents. They were people who were just taking advantage of a situation to do bad things. And let me get that across. It doesn't matter black, white, brown, Puerto Rican, Chinese, Hispanic. What I will say is that there's a lot of racism amongst all races. There's a lot of blatant racism, but the thing is that it seems that it's okay for people to be racist against white people because of what people did in their past. So let me tell you right now, my skin is white, and I catch certain judgments just because of the fact that I'm white. Although my nationality, I guess I have the white privilege. Sadly, I hate that term, but but a lot of people do have that advantage. And I'll tell you guys a quick story. When I was younger, this kid used to bully me. The kid and me got into a fist fight in school, and I punched the kid really hard in the throat, and the police got involved. It was just an accident, really. The kid had his hands on my throat. He was choking me out. I started to feel like I was blacking out, so I just threw a punch, and I ended up hitting him right in the Adam's apple. He had to go to the hospital, and the school policy is as long as there was no injuries, then everybody's just suspended for a few days. If somebody got injured and had to go to the hospital, then the police had to be involved. I don't know if that's New York State law or if that is just the school policies. But I know, for instance, the school that I went to is now so bad that there's metal detectors in front of it. There wasn't metal detectors in front of the school when I went there. But anyway, my point is that I got not arrested, but I had to go to court, and they wanted to bring me up on assault charges. I ended up being too young, which is why they ended up dropping it for the most part, because I was under the age of 16, and in New York, if you assault somebody at the age of 16 or older, you could be charged as an adult for a violent crime. I was under the age of 16, so they couldn't charge me as an adult, so they just gave me the child, once they looked at, I should say, your record precedes you. Now, I've never been in trouble in school. I got into it, it was all just bully problems and stuff like that, because I used to be a nerd. I was like a Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Dungeons and Dragons nerd in high school. I wasn't bothered with the jocks and all the other cool kids, so I got bullied a lot. But I also eventually became a large dude. I used to be extremely, I wouldn't say obese, but I was overweight. I used to be about 260 pounds. And once I got to be that large, I stopped taking bullies' crap. And then people started wanting to test out the guy with a little man complex. Most of the time, most of these bullies weren't usually bigger than me. It was just a guy with a little man complex who wanted to pick on the big guy to see how tough he was. Which I admire that more than people who pick on the small guys, because that was also a lot of the time while I was getting into fights, because I was usually the biggest guy in class, and whenever a nerd or a kid who couldn't defend himself, I should at least say, was being picked on by a bunch of kids or by a singular bully, I would stand up in the middle of class, walk over to him, and tell him, if you don't leave him alone, I'm going to kick your ass. And a lot of times I would wait till after class and I'd punch him in the face, because I do not like bullies. It's just, I got beat up by a group of kids so bad who bullied me that I ended up with a concussion and a couple of broken ribs and a fractured sternum. And I never want anybody to feel as helpless as I ever did again. But did I run off and join the police force and start beating people up and treating people like jerks because I was bullied in high school? No. I learned to deal with it. I learned how society works, and that people are going to make fun of the ones who are different. People are going to make fun of the ones that make them feel inferior. And people are afraid of those who have some type of power above them, which is why the Second Amendment was created in the first place. So, all in all, when it comes down to it, you need to be an American and hold the mentality that you're not going to take crap from anybody. Because as far as I'm concerned, everything I did, I never hurt anybody bad enough to where the person that I punched in the throat is actually now a homeless, gang-banging loser. Their mother was a drug addict, and so were they. And that's the whole point here, is that I wasn't dealing with high-class people. And that's really what it comes down to, folks, is I've seen a lot of it. I've dealt with a lot of adversity myself. I've been bullied a lot. When I was in school, they didn't really address the bullying problem. There wasn't this whole zero tolerance thing. When it comes down to it, that was the only trouble I ever really got into. But my point with that whole story is that my skin is white. Otherwise, what I had done, if I was an African-American kid, I probably would have been put in jail or in juvenile hall, and then that would have sealed my fate from there. I would have been in and out of the system the rest of my life, and I wouldn't have had the opportunities that I have today. And not that I'm living large on the hog, but I'm definitely not harassed by the police every time I'm pulled over, mostly because I'm respectful and I greet them with a smile, and I play their game and bend over backwards to make them happy, because I don't want them to feel that I'm a threat of any kind, especially because of my size. They see that I'm 6'2", 212 pounds, and I punch somebody, or if I get out of the car and the guys, like, there's a lot of people who are most people are under my size, would probably feel physically intimidated by me. Meanwhile, a police officer would use that if he felt threatened to a point. If you're stupid enough to get out and get aggressive with a police officer, it might make him want to pull his pistol. I've had police officers do what's called breaking leather on me once. I was in my car, and I kind of don't blame the guy. I wasn't thinking. My right hand dropped down kind of quick, and he put his hand on his gun really fast. And we were in the middle of nowhere pretty much on my road where there was no homes around. It was just me and him. And he decided to pull me over. But I look at it this way. If you're that nervous about committing or performing a stop out in the middle of nowhere, is it really worth possibly getting shot over to stop somebody who might have, I don't know, maybe because around here there's really not that big of a drug problem, because it's predominantly older people in my area. It's not a race thing. I mean, my area predominantly white, and there's I think there's maybe one black family that lives in the area, but they're great people. They run a nursing home. They're very caring people. I wouldn't say mother, father, a daughter with her older Haitian mother, who's a very sweet lady. I've actually prepared. I used to be a butcher, and I've prepared meat for their family multiple times. Very good, very sweet people. Always offered to bring me back food and stuff like that. And I was like, no, it's okay. But my point is that. They're very good people, and they're very caring people. They take care of, I wouldn't say it's a halfway house, but they take care of adults with mental issues, and they have a few seniors along with them. So they run a nursing home of sorts, but it's more of a assisted living home, I guess you could say. Either way, my point is that there's the area I live in, I don't have to necessarily now worry about urban crime, so to speak, because everybody's so spread out. And most of the people that live in this community, no matter what their nationality is, I wouldn't call it a retirement community. It's just like mostly old farmers. Everybody in this area has grown up together and lived together for a long period of time, and most of the younger crowd are moving out of this area now. There's no jobs because of the farmland, because nobody wants to be a farmer anymore because there's really no money in it, which is sad. And like, I see farmers in my area milking cows at 2, 3 in the morning, which they used to only have to milk them like once a day, twice a day to make the money they need to make. And now they got their cows in the barns at all hours of the night so that they can fulfill their milk quotas and get the money that they used to make. So all in all, everything I'm talking about here is that all these silly laws, all the draconian police state crap that's going on is affecting us all. And we all need to stand up and turn around and say, hey, listen, we're not going to take this anymore. We don't want to use violence, but if you push us too far, we're going to have to. And like I said, if you resort to violence, then you've already lost the battle and you have to win the war. But the point is that we as the American people cannot rely on violence to solve the problem, because it's just going to create a power vacuum, and then anybody could step in and take over, and then somebody could turn around and turn this country into a massive, crazy military dictatorship, which apparently that military coup was already staged. Now, we may not be getting all of the all of the facts with that whole general that was planning a military coup. Maybe he saw something that the military was about to do in the near future that he was trying to stop, and they turned it around like he was a bad person. Maybe he really was a bad person, and we were about to be under a military dictatorship. Who the hell knows? Honestly, I don't think that Americans would stand for it, and I think if some idiot tried to turn around and say, oh, well, you're all going to do what I say now, he would have to entice every single American with something so valuable that they would be willing to defeat or to abandon all of their American morals, and I highly doubt that would happen. So, in hindsight, I don't think with the American values that we have that anything's going to be or anything like that would be an issue. But at the same time, there are plenty of people who'd be willing to follow orders and force people to do their bidding. So you got to just think about it, because not everybody owns firearms. Yes, there is a lot of firearms in this country, but a majority of those firearms are multiple firearms owned by one family. So unless people, which I know a lot of families wouldn't be willing to do it, and I don't really blame them, unless people are willing to give away firearms, not every American would be able to take up arms. Yes, there is potential for them to, but not every, a lot of people, a lot of other countries think that every American's either a gun-toting NRA card-carrying member, or they think that, or they think that Americans are gung-ho, fight-ready idiots who are willing to punch you in the face. And to that might be a small degree, because we Americans don't take shit from anybody. And that's the way we're all raised to deal with it. But it seems like, especially in schools, they're trying to alienate children to dilute our culture and make it so that we're not willing to fight back, because what made our country great was our no take shit attitude. And meanwhile, they're trying to teach people that, oh, well, you need to be a good citizen and listen to your government, and you need to listen to dear leader. You need to listen to dear leader right now. You need to do what I say. Get him out. That's basically what it's turning into. We're turning into North Korea, folks. They're trying to use the rhetoric of people. They're trying to use the rhetoric and the propaganda through the media and through Hollywood and everything else to change everybody's opinions so that they can keep everybody docile and fighting amongst each other, so that, like I said before, they can do whatever the hell they want in the background. Well, I'm telling you now, I'm that guy in the middle of the crowd who's like, hey, wait a minute, whoa, what's that guy doing over there? And I'm trying to get everybody's attention, but I need your help, guys. So spread the word. If you're a prepper and you like the show, or you want to help me grow my audience, is basically what I'm trying to say here. And I'm doing the best I can to work on my speaking momentum and keep what I'm saying relevant and keep up on current events so that I have things to talk about. It's not easy to do this, guys, and I mean, I have a little more spare time than the average bear because I'm 26 years old. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have a family to take care of, so I'm not in a big hurry to get any of those things, really. So I have a lot of spare time. I have a lot of expendable income, so I have the time to do this show. Either way, that's basically what I was trying to get at with that. And that's really about it, guys. So if you really want, I need you to help me grow my audience. I'm going to try to do a show on Mondays, Thursdays, and I'm thinking about doing a daily morning show. We'll see what goes on with that. I'll see how that works out. Either way, my point is that I'm trying to gain an audience. I want to try to figure out an outlet where I can have people call in. I might just get a separate phone line just for the show, for when I'm doing things during the day and whatever else. And I want to, and you guys want to get in contact with me so that I can maybe have people call in and put you on speaker like I do with William or anything else, but I'm really not comfortable with giving out my home phone number. So until I have the extra cash to do that, we'll figure it out. But my point is that I'm trying to grow the audience. I'm trying to make the show better. With every show, I'm learning more and more. I listen to my own shows and try to figure out what I'm doing wrong. But it's really about it, guys. So I'm going to leave you guys with a song. I'm going to take a break for a little while. It's It's a melody, has no lyrics in it whatsoever, no vocals. I can't remember the name of the band, but the song is called Spirit of Life. It's a pretty cool little dubstep kind of dancey music thing. So it's nothing crazy. So for those of you who might be listening who are about to tune out, it's not super crazy loud dance music. It's actually very relaxing. So you ought to listen. So, that's really about it, folks. We're going to be doing a blog talk show in a couple hours. So I'm going to jump on there with Bobby and Becky, and I don't know what we're going to be doing tonight. Probably going to be open mic night as usual. That's really about it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed my crazy little ramblings and natterings and all that crazy stuff. And that's really about it, guys. I'm going to do the best I can to bring you the best show I can every day, every week, whatever I decide to do. Let me know, guys. Message the page if you want to know what time, or I should say, I want to know what time you think would be best for me to do a regular show, because I want as many people as possible to be able to tune in, to contribute, and so on and so forth. And that's really about it, guys. So let me know. Message me on Facebook through private messaging, or on, post it in the timeline. I don't really care. So get a hold of me. I'd really like to know what you guys think. Maybe you have some constructive criticism. If you're going to be a douche about it, we will ban you from the page, and I really wouldn't want to have you as a listener. If you want to help me get better, or maybe you would like to be a guest on the show, or you'd just like to come on and talk bullcrap about whatever the hell you want to talk about. As long as it's appropriate for the show, I'd be more than happy to have you on. So let me know, and we'll work something out. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this is Z-Man asking the same question I'm always asking you. Are you ready? Decided to play this song because sometimes this is the way I feel. In the end, it doesn't even matter.
It starts with
one thing. I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away. It's so unreal. Didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on to didn't even know I wasted it all just to watch you go. I kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to me will eventually be a memory of a time when I tried so hard and got so far. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. One thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to remind myself how I tried so hard. In spite of the way you were mocking me, acting like I was part of your property, remembering all the times you fought with me, I'm surprised it got so. Things aren't the way they were before. You wouldn't even recognize me anymore. Not that you knew me back then, but it all comes back to me in the end. You kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to me will eventually be a memory of a time when I tried so hard and got so far. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. I put my trust in you, pushed as far as I can go. For all this, there's only one thing you should know. I've put my trust in you, pushed as far as I can go. For all this, there's only one thing you should know. I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter.
Alright, guys, we're signing off for the day. You can catch us on Blog Talk Radio tonight at 4:30, or I should say about 5 o'clock Eastern Time, 4 o'clock Central. And that's really about it, guys. If you want to get in contact with me, Bobby, or Becky, you can get a hold of me at ZNN on Facebook. You can also get a hold of us at Rage Against the Regime on Facebook. Check us out on Spreaker, Blog Talk, and a whole list of other outlets you can find our podcast on, including iTunes. So you guys have a great day, and I am going to go have some fun with my family.